It is now time for Focus. Today we're meeting France's most famous Nazi hunters, Serge and Beate Klarsfeld. They're now an elderly couple, but with a dramatic past that they've just opened up to public eyes through their memoirs published this week. Bernard Lebrun, David Dameda and Aurore Dupuis report now on how this Hungarian-born Jew and the daughter of a former German soldier came to spend decades tracking down Hitler's henchmen.
A Parisian flat, home to a French couple who made history.
These dogs were abandoned.
They weren't abandoned, they were beggars.
For the past 50 years, the Klarsfelds have been fighting for justice, tracking down Nazi criminals. Beate, 76, was born a German Catholic. Her husband, Serge, 79, was born a Romanian Jew. They've just written their memoirs, the story of a heroic common action and of an unusual couple who met on a metro platform in Paris.
Our window's right above the place where we first met.
Their love blossomed in May 1960 when a German au pair girl met a future lawyer.
I was studying history and political sciences. I just finished school at Sciences Po and was about to enlist in the military.
I was learning French at the Alliance Française, and I was staying with a French family, taking care of their kids.
On paper, Beate and Serge had nothing in common. One spoke German, the other didn't. He was the son of a deported Jew. She was the daughter of a German soldier who wore the Wehrmacht uniform.
My father wasn't happy in the army, that's for sure. He wasn't a Nazi. Although I think my parents did vote for Hitler, just like the majority of Germans. But my dad wasn't a Nazi at all.
On the 30th of September 1943, the German army raided Jewish homes in the southern city of Nice. Serge's father hid his wife and children inside a closet before being arrested by the Gestapo.
They looked for us, but the German officer who searched the closet only shuffled the clothes on the rod. He didn't touch the wall, so he didn't notice that the closet had a fake wall. We survived, but my father was taken away.
And that's what pushed the couple to become Nazi hunters. Beate often took to the streets, attracting media attention and causing havoc. Her aim was to unmask SS soldiers. She came into the limelight in 1968 when she went after this man, the West German Chancellor Kurt Kiesinger. During the war, he used to be the director of the Nazi propaganda radio. In the middle of a conference in Berlin, Beate publicly slapped the Chancellor. The scandal resonated across Europe and eventually led to Kiesinger's fall. But before that, Beate was arrested.
The day the court sentenced me to 1 year in prison, the judge told me, "Mrs. Klarsfeld, you used violence." And I replied, "No, violence is when you impose a Nazi chancellor on the German youth. That's violence."
The Klarsfelds also tracked down the so-called Butcher of Lyon, who'd been in hiding in Peru and Bolivia. In 1972, he insisted,
"I never went to the Gestapo in Lyon."
15 years later, the same man appeared in court handcuffed. His true identity, Klaus Barbie, the former chief of Gestapo in Lyon, central France. He killed Jean Moulin, a hero of the French resistance, and deported dozens of Jewish children from an orphanage. Klarsfeld was one of the lawyers who represented the victims' families.
Seeing him in handcuffs didn't really affect me. What did strike me was when he says, "My troubles emerged when Beate Klarsfeld started her investigation." That was amusing.
Was it satisfying after years of work to find him?
Of course it was, especially for Beate. But I expected a trial, and I wasn't surprised by the fact that there was one. I was thinking about the victims.
Serge gave his son the same name as his own father, Arnaud, who died in Auschwitz. He's also a lawyer, and he led the case against Paul Touvier and Maurice Papon, two French collaborators found guilty in the 1990s. Arnaud believes his parents played a key role in today's society.
Beate changed Germany's history and Serge changed history in France, how France viewed its own history, while Beate wanted to give Germany another image.
The Klarsfelds were awarded with the Legion of Honor, the highest civil award in France. The ceremony took place on the 16th of July last year, on the anniversary of the Veldiv roundup, when tens of thousands of Jews were arrested, deported, and eventually murdered.